Hi, welcome to Lupus Speaks Podcast, where we shine a spotlight on lupus who are bossing it in business, inspiring others, and making a mark in the lupus community. I'm your host, Shedrica Holmes, on a mission to showcase the incredible journeys of lupus warriors turned entrepreneurs, influencers, and advocates. So get ready for empowering stories, insightful conversations, and a dose of inspiration. This is not just a podcast, it's a platform for you to dream again. So join me as we explore the possibilities beyond lupus and celebrate the resilience of lupus community. Hi friends, welcome back to the show, Lupus Speaks Podcast, and I'm your host, Shedrica Shant'e, and today we have Semi Watson. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here.
I am so glad to talk to you today. So, can you start by sharing your lupus journey and what it was like being diagnosed in 2013?
Yes. So my experience was kind of caught us off guard. I had been experiencing a lot of fatigue, tiredness, achiness, and a lot of chest pains. And I thought it was something that I could handle at home by taking like aspirin and ibuprofen, but it just wasn't it. So by the time I finally went to the hospital, I had kind of waited too late. I was having a lot of fluid building up around my heart and my lungs. And when the doctors went in to drain the fluid, my lung collapsed and I was placed on life support for about a week or so. And that's kind of where my journey started. No one else in my family had really talked about lupus before. I was pretty much the first one. So it's been a lot of trial and error. But that was the first experience that I had that was like really detrimental. Outside of that, I've had a lot of like run ins here and there, but nothing to that extent. And that's kind of a fear that I have because I never want to get back to that place. But
Right.
kind of how it started.
So, what are some of the treatment plans that you're on right now to keep you regulated, or like what are the things that you're doing to prevent that so that you got in the beginning?
Well, I'm a hard head patient. I am probably doctor's worst nightmare because in the beginning I was allowing them to feed me all kind of medicines. I was taking like 15 pills sometimes in a day. And I was just like, how long are we going to continue these types of treatments? You know, my hair is falling out, my weight is up and down, I'm sick all the time, I'm nauseous, can't sleep. This is not working for me. So I did that for a few years, and for the past maybe 3 years, I've kind of been taking control of my own health by kind of advocating for myself. I've been saying, no, I don't want to take this. Let me try to take this off. Let's try to do this. Currently, before I started doing that, I was taking maybe about 6 different medications. Now I'm probably down to maybe about two, and those are really interesting on how I take them. So don't follow my advice. But for me to go from 6 down to 2, I do think that is a really big improvement for me. I do have to get a treatment once a month called Benlysta. It's like an IV infusion. And I sit there for maybe about 2 hours roughly. And it's kind of like a boost for me. I can tell when it's time for me to get another one because I start dragging. And outside of that, I'll take like a steroid, but I'm trying to take that as needed versus like we want you to do this every day because with my lupus, I don't really have any type of organ damage and I'm not trying to have any. And a lot of people my age, I've seen them with hip replacements, knee replacements, and the type of steroids they want me on, I'm following up right behind that as well.
So, do you mind we asking how old you are?
Yes, I am 31. I am.
31?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I
I
can
was
see what
diagnosed
you're
when I was
saying.
21. Yeah, I don't. I got a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was diagnosed at the age of 20. So I get what you're saying, and it was definitely those things where they tell you, "Oh well, you can." I currently and never have had any organ damaging. The only thing that I've always experienced is the things within my skin, which is your largest organ. So that's the main things I probably dealt with. They did tell me I had to have they could replace me. But again, like you said, you kind of find other ways to
Right.
um not have to deal with that. So I started working out. I started because at that time I was on steroids, I was really big. So I was like, okay, well I'm gonna just lose
Yeah.
weight then and then I don't need it. So I still haven't had to have that.
Oh,
Definitely
wow.
recommend you sticking with your journey the way you're going
Yeah.
about it, because sometimes you do have to be like, you know what, there's got to be another way, and looking
Right.
into it and not taking out everything that they say. Because at one point I was only on Buildup,
Mhm.
and that worked for a long time until
It didn't.
like, no, it still works. Honestly, it was just that a conflict with my insurance. They didn't want to pay for the infusions anymore.
Gotcha.
So I had to switch from infusions to self injections. So
Okay.
that's what I'm currently on now.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that too. I'm getting a lot of letters. I don't open them, but I'm getting a lot of letters in the mail saying, basically like with balance. I'm like, uh, I do not want to do the self injection because if I do, I know I'm a raggedy when it comes to me taking stuff. It's not gonna be, and I know that was something that you have to take same time. You can't miss them, and I'm not good with that. So me going to get the infusion is probably my best bet. Um,
Yeah, as
but
long as
no,
they cover it and do it, because
yeah,
they stopped mine. I was like so upset. I was like,
yeah.
I gotta do this. So it was one of these things that she said within the questionnaire prior to the interview, and you said that you referenced lupus like it's your child.
Hmm.
And I really thought that was an interesting perspective or the way that you look at it. Can
Yeah.
you explain a little bit more about that in detail?
Yeah, because a lot of times people ask me like, do I feel left out often or, do I feel like lupus gets in the way of things? And I kind of just use that type of analogy because it's like everything that you go to, is not kid friendly. Sometimes you don't have a babysitter. Sometimes I'm not feeling good, so it's like everything that's out here, if it's not tailored for me, I'm not gonna make it tailored for me. It's just like some things I can't do. People are understanding here and there. I do have a lot of people that because I look like nothing's wrong with me on the outside, they don't really know like this thing is a beast on the inside. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to set boundaries and pretty much just say no. Like when my child can come, I can come. So that's kind of how it is for me now. Initially, I didn't like telling people I had lupus. I didn't like to feel like I was being treated differently. I didn't want to feel like I was in a bubble or people were just, I guess because they don't really know what it is or how it can affect a person, they really don't know how to treat you. And that was a big thing for me. I didn't like telling people something was wrong, but I had to just realize something is wrong. Like you're not like everyone else, and it is okay to accept that you're not like everyone else. And that's when I kind of started advocating for lupus to explain what it is to people so they'll know how to treat, others, going forward.
Is that easy for you? Because sometimes I struggle with that still to this day. Like
No,
mentally, like just saying, yes, the boundary is set for them, but it's also like that mental boundary for yourself, accepting the fact that I can't go even though I want to go or I want to
yeah,
participate. But so, like, how do you navigate that mental judgment
yeah.
within yourself?
That's the hardest part for me because I don't like saying no a lot.
Hmm.
I hate telling people no when it comes to certain things like that. I like to show up, but I still do struggle with it at times. I struggle when I'm not feeling well, letting people in, letting them know, hey, this is wrong, this is going on with me. Because I don't want people to panic and worry because everyone always goes back to that first initial
Hmm.
diagnosis. And it's like, hey, it's not that deep this time. It's just a little flare up, but a little flare up can turn into something big overnight. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, do I go to the hospital? Do I chill out at home? Do I let someone know? That's probably the hardest part for me is letting someone know that things are where they need to be, asking for help. Pretty prideful. Um, because I'm used to doing things on my own for myself and having to ask someone, hey, look, I need you to help me get dressed today. It's like, what? I'm just not gonna go. And it's like, no,
Right.
call somebody and tell them you need help. I'm like, no, I can't do that. But as time go on, I am learning to get off of that pride that I've been sitting on for so long. I can kind of gauge a person to see, like, okay, and I'm comfortable with letting you know this is what I have going on the inside or not, because I've gotten a lot of times, like, is it contagious? Can you give this to me? Or, and it's just like, so many times I want to be like, yep, Because it's like, do some research. Like, if you want to be in my life, you're going to have to do some research. Like, I can give you as much information as you ask, but if you don't take the time to kind of try to learn it as well, it's just not going to work. Because I feel like that's the best way to understand it is try to read some of the stuff that we do have out here that's available. So I try to share posts on social media, daily about what lupus is when I'm going through different things. Like a few weeks ago, I had to wear a heart monitor and it was so big. It looked like a flame doorbell. Everybody was just
Yeah.
like, but I didn't hide it. I wore shirts that was specifically cut so you could see I got this big attachment on me because I look fine on the outside. And they're just like, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on? Well, lupus is messing with my heart. This is what's happening. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
educating them as they go. And I try to do like, when I'm having certain doctor's appointments, if I'm getting inside of like I don't know what it's called, but when they're checking my lung functions for me to breathe into this machine, I'm take pictures. Do anybody know what this is? I do like a Q&A to kind of keep people who are following my journey updated and so they'll kind of know what things are.
Ooh, that sounds difficult,
Yeah.
and it's that's right, and especially for me because I do have small children, so it's harder to explain to them, "Mommy hurts,
Yeah.
mom doesn't feel good." Sometimes I literally lock myself in the bathroom. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I get balancing relationships and navigating those love people is definitely challenging. It's not easy. So lupus has given you social anxiety, and sometimes you hate disclosing it. How do you handle these situations, and what advice do you have for others facing similar challenges?
The social anxiety, like I said, it definitely came from my parents may not look the same. Yeah. Before about a year ago, I noticed that I was losing my hair. My hair had been coming out like it was just shedding, like really, really bad. So I have this big bushy ponytail that's getting smaller and smaller. And it's just like, what are you holding on to this for? Let's cut it. So it's like I try to jump out and take control or doing something drastic. It's like, all right, let's cut it off. Let's diet, and everyone else is looking at it like, oh, that's a power move. Oh, she's doing something different. And it's like, yeah, kind of, sort of, but not really. It's like I'm kind of being forced to do this. I want the
Yeah,
option to wear short hair because I want short hair, not because it's coming
my
out.
hair falling out. Yeah.
Right, or certain things that stand out to me, I've noticed that it's starting to affect my skin. So I'm starting to get like certain patches like in my facial area. And it's like I don't want to cover that up with makeup. At the same time, I don't want people looking at me like, is that a ring around my face? Or what is because people don't know. They're not aware that we get butterfly rashes. And that's something that's new for me because I never had to experience that before.
Yeah.
When I was on high doses of steroids, I dealt with the moon phase, really
Uh-huh.
big cheeks, and that was hard for me. People aren't realizing that for one, you're invading my personal space by coming up, grabbing my cheeks, and it's
No.
like, yeah, don't do that. I'm not five. Like, don't do that. So types of things like that, it's like, oh, I don't want to go around. People that haven't seen me in a while because they're like, oh, she's super small now, or she's, people
Big. Yeah.
yeah, they just say whatever, and they don't realize that even if they mean no harm, to me, it can come. I'm a little bit more fragile than what I used to be before. So I do try to take control of it by, like I said, doing something before it gets to me all the way. So before my hair falls out, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. Like I'm gonna beat
Yeah.
you to it.
Yeah.
So it's been things like that. Certain medications I take make me extremely nauseous. I'm very my senses have like heightened, so like smells are really like strong to me now. So it's like I don't like going to certain places because it's like everything bothers me at this point. So I don't like for people to feel like, oh, she just don't want to come, but it's like I know what I'm gonna have to deal with when I get there. So it's been a journey. It definitely has. I try not to use lupus as a reason to get out of things. That is literally my last resort because I don't like people to feel like lupus gets in my way all the time, or lupus is something that keeps me back from doing whatever I want to do. And it's like that's not the case. It's just that I kind of have to work around it, and everything isn't able to be adjusted. Yeah.
I hear a lot of like what you're saying, and I resonate with a lot of it. But and I guess I'm saying this for myself too because it seemed like the whole process of what we're doing is navigating other people's feelings and what we don't want them to feel like, and
Right.
how we want them to see us. And it's
Mhm.
like, how do we overcome that? Like, what do you have
Right.
any advice to that? I
The
don't
only
know.
thing is, that's why I say, like, when I had to wear my monitor, someone reached out to me and was just like, I just cover mine up. And mine is detachable. It was able to come off. Versus this young lady actually had like a port or whatnot, a scar maybe. And it's just like, I found them. Wear it. What is someone gonna say besides asking the question? Why do you have that on? It's very rare I'm gonna get someone that tells me you shouldn't cut your hair. They may say, "Oh, why did you do that?" And I'm willing to tell you why. But I try to answer questions before they're even asked. And
Gotcha.
that's kind of been my route that I've taken for this far for the past few years. I try to, like I said, answer questions before they're asked because a lot of people don't know what to ask and they make assumptions and sometimes they quiet. They don't want to ask because they don't know how to. But yeah, I feel like it has been a lot of me taking care of other people's feelings, making sure everyone else doesn't feel like I'm treating them differently when it should be the other way around. But again, since I don't look like anything is wrong, people are gonna think what they're gonna think. So
Yeah. I feel like for me, more and more, and I've been living with lupus since 2008, so it just seemed like I would have it all figured out, or at
yeah.
least understanding well. But I mean, times have changed, things are different, people are more open and vocal about it,
Hmm.
and then you still have those that just don't say anything. And somehow I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So like speaking on it, talking about it, being an advocate for it, but being I realized when I'm around like people that I know that's I'm intimate with, like my family or friends or social groups that I'm used to,
Yeah.
I don't say anything, and I shelter them more so me how I'm feeling, and I feel out of place. I hate feeling like that.
Right. Right.
I don't know. I guess I just recently went through that. I was around a whole bunch of people. It was a birthday party, and it's like people I normally associate with. It was just too much, and I felt like I was the one out of
Yeah.
place. Like, are they thinking that? Do they want to ask
Hmm.
me a question? And honestly, I wanted to talk, but
Yeah.
it
I
was
get
like
it.
they purposely weren't talking to me because they
Hmm.
didn't want to say anything off, and so it
Yeah.
made me feel awkward. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
get
don't
it.
know.
A lot of my accessories make me feel that way at times. Like if I have to use a cane, I'm like,
Mm,
I am not gonna get out of this car. But my family, we're very silly. So they're like, girl, what is you doing walking up here with this cane? And it's like they don't make me feel bad about it. They kind of help me laugh through it. If
mhm.
I have to wear like my oxygen machine and I'm carrying around this thing that look like a fire extinguisher, it's about this big and it's heavy. But it's like when I go certain places and if I have to use it, it's like I don't want to. I don't want people looking at me. And it's not so much of I don't want them to think certain things. It's more so I'm not accustomed to this. I'm not used to having to carry around all this equipment. I gotta get a cane out, I gotta get an oxygen tank, I gotta have this on. Or it's like previously, before I was diagnosed, I didn't have any of these problems. So it's like I'm still trying to get adjusted to certain things too when I'm having a flare up. And it's more so internal the thing that I have to deal with. But I'm still telling myself like, look, this is a part of you. Again, you got a kid come stepping right behind you. So it's like, what?
Mhm,
You're gonna tell people that this isn't your child? Like you're gonna act like
mhm.
this kid's not there? No. Carry your cane, carry your oxygen tank, do what you have to do, and people are gonna accept it or they're not. But at the end of the day, you have to do what works for you.
Yeah. So, can you share the ways that spreading awareness about lupus is important? Why it's important to you?
It's important to me, God, I said, because people don't a lot of people haven't heard of lupus. You hear of autism, you hear of cancer, you hear of sickle cell, you hear of all these things, but then it's like lupus, it's like it's not really talked about much. And in my community, I try to connect more so with children now. I went to school to be an childhood education for teaching, and I kind of got out of that field, but that's truly where my heart is. And I do see, like, when I go to the lupus walks and things of that sort, I see a lot of
Jeez.
adults there that have lupus, people that are my age or people that are older, or they're representing people who've passed on. But I don't really see a lot of things targeted towards little kids. And I want to be able to start sharing awareness for children that's about 5 to 8 so they can understand what's happening to them or create certain things so they can understand what's going on with their parent, because we don't have that. I don't see that. There's so many things out there for me and you to connect with and find. Okay, there's social groups. Well, what do we do for the little ones who you can't go outside and play because you're taking immunosuppressant or your body's hurting this way? How do you explain that to your doctor? So I am trying to advocate more towards the kids. Sort of getting it started now. I didn't really understand if I wanted to go through with like nonprofit or start up my own business. But that is in the works. That's what I'm working on right now. Um, because someone has to speak for the kids.
At the same time.
Yeah. So with the fibro, it's like it's more so of a muscle thing for me. And my nerves. I've had experiences where I just woke up completely fine and I started feeling like my legs were asleep. That little tingling feeling that you get in your feet when you've sat too long. I started feeling that in my leg. And then it
Mm.
moved to my arms. But it was so overwhelming to the point that I was in tears. It was just like pins and needles going up and down my body. And when I tried to like stand up to try to like walk it off, I started to get like cramps in the back of my calves. I couldn't stand up for more than like 30 seconds. And that went on for like a week straight. And I mean, I literally could not walk without going into a muscle spasm. And those things hurt. I mean,
Mm.
so it's like, well, here's muscle relaxers. Won't you take those? But it's like, how do I function taking muscle relaxers 3 times a day and I have a full-time job? How
Mm.
am I gonna do that? So I couldn't. Luckily I work from home, but like if I had to drive,
Okay.
how am I gonna drive when I can't use my legs? They're not. So mine, like I said, mine is more so it's like just a lot of pain. And the thing is, seeking help from doctors, a lot of doctors think that they look at my age and they're just like, oh, she's just seeking pain medicine. So it's a lot of doctors that don't want to give you the stuff that you really do need because Tylenol, ibuprofen, those things are not going to touch the problem at all. So it's like having to deal with that. I've saw pain management doctors who they either set a weight because I was too small. They're like, we don't want to prescribe you this because it's just like I kind of got nowhere with it. So it's like, what do I do? They want to prescribe you certain things like steroids. That's not going to help the problems that I'm dealing with. So
Yeah.
it's just been very like tedious trying to figure out what works. I can pretty much tell now when I'm going through a lupus flare up or if I'm having something dealing with the fibro because the lupus, it pretty much targets like I'm having like chest pains. I can't like lie down. I can't walk up steps. Feels like I can't breathe. Usually it's messing with my heart or my lungs, or I'll feel just very like lethargic. Like I'm just like, I'm tired and I'm like, okay, something's about to get started. Those joints, those elbows. But when it's more so like we're not moving at all, it's like muscle wise all over. Lupus
Mm.
flares, I can kind of maneuver towards those a little bit, but when they're both happening at the same time, I
Mm.
call it quit.
I've never really heard it from that perspective before, so thank you.
Yeah.
Because I really, to be honest, I'm not even gonna lie, don't judge me. But I thought it had something to do with fibroids. I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but you would think that with the name.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
automatically that's what it was. I thought that's what people were dealing with. I didn't realize that it was just like a nerve thing. Or
Yeah,
okay,
it's a whole it's for example, let's say you're experiencing pain and your pain level, it probably truly is maybe a 4 for whatever you're dealing with right now. But with fibromyalgia, that 4 is gonna be an 8 right off the rip. Like it's like the pain for that is intensified. And it's like when doctors know that, you have a lot of doctors that want to think that it's a mental thing that you're dealing with and that the pain
but
doesn't actually exist, which is why they don't want to prescribe the medication. But it's like, no, I know what I feel. And if this is an actual diagnosis, how can you tell me that it's a mental thing sort of
right,
say? But that's
yeah.
kind of where I was at for a really long time, trying to find doctors, and I still haven't found a doctor that works for me. But
And they always treat you like you're a drug addict. You
hey,
gotta go through this pain management. They counting your pills. They doing
mhm,
this. They doing that. And it's like by the time you actually give me something, it ain't gonna help me anyway. But for me,
mhm,
because I'm allergic to almost every pain medication. So it's like,
Yeah.
waste of going to the hospital. They already know I got lupus. They ain't gonna do nothing. They just gonna trade go see a
Rheumatologist.
rheumatologist. And it's just so frustrating. It's like, no, I need relief right now. So then they give you
Right.
this steroid dose pack to you
Uh-huh.
wean off, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating because this is like, why can't they have something flagged specifically for a lupus warrior that
Mm-hmm.
they know they need it, and maybe have a limit to how many times they could come or something, but just don't act like I'm just in here making this stuff up. Like, no,
Yep.
I'm in severe pain. Help me.
Yep.
And you would think that the ER can do that, but they don't. Sad. So,
Mhm.
what would you say to someone who is newly diagnosed with lupus and struggling with both the physical and the emotional aspects of the disease?
Someone that's newly diagnosed, I will let them know that it's okay to ask for help. It's definitely okay to admit that you're not okay, because that's still one of my struggles, to admit when I'm not okay. But it is okay to, and advocate for yourself. Don't let doctors tell you how you feel. And I deal with that so much. They're trying to tell me how I'm supposed to be feeling and what I'm feeling. I'm just like, no, I don't feel like that. This hurts or this is not working. Let them know, and sometimes I've experienced like lupus fog, and I'm like, dang, did I remember to tell them this? Or take notes until you get
Mm.
familiar with what's wrong. Take notes, write down the symptoms that you're experiencing when they happen. They may not happen all the time, but something's not right. But because it happened just that one time doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. Try to keep notes of certain things that happen so you can let them know, and don't let them turn you away. If something is not right and they're constantly just trying to, well, just it takes about 2 to 3 months for this to work. Okay, well, what am I supposed to do within those 2 to 3 months until it does work?
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna do in between
Ooh,
that? They
that's a
they
good
don't.
one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they do not like me. I have to ask those questions, but it comes from that experience. But that's one that they try to use all the time. Are you gonna take it for 2, 3 months until it gets in your system to work? Okay, so what do I do in between then? Make them work. They're making you pay your copay. You have to keep coming
Yeah.
back. It's like they're getting paid to prescribe. Okay, I need you to educate me too. That bedside manner is terrible for a lot of doctors. And if you have a doctor and you don't like them, change it. You don't have to stick with just that one. There's plenty of other doctors out here. They may have a long waiting list, but typically they have a long waiting list for a reason. So
Yeah. Yeah.
schedule that appointment. Don't quit your doctor just yet. But schedule one with someone and see how it is, and just request for have copies of your lab so that you can submit them to the new place or whatnot. But speak up for yourself. When something's not right, definitely say it's not right. Don't try to mask it, because masking only makes it worse.
I love that. That was some good ones. Especially
Yeah.
the whole take the notes thing, because I know with me, I definitely deal with the brain fog, so I've always
Mhm.
had to keep track of things. But a lot of people just don't think about it, and then they
Mhm.
forget. I still to this day forget to take my medicine sometimes, but it's
Mhm.
like, did I do it today or did I do
Yes,
it
that's my
yesterday?
word.
Sometimes it be like that, but
I have to have, if I don't have that pill case, and sometimes I'm like,
mm-hmm.
well, I'll just take out the bottle. It's like, let's say I took it at 2 o'clock today, 7 o'clock come. I'm like, I don't want to take
Mm-hmm.
another one
Right.
so I just won't take it. And it's like, dang, you probably
Yeah.
didn't take it. So yeah, those little pill case, get one of those.
Yeah, I got a lot of them. Some of them got Sunday ripped off of it. Then
Hey,
look,
I got permanent marker written on over there, all smeared
yeah,
off. Yeah, those.
it be like that.
Yeah.
So, how could my guests find you if they want to talk to you, get advice, or work with you, anything?
Well, right now I'm using my main page. It's Louie Lou on Instagram. Definitely connect there. I am building my other page up for my lupus advocacy. Is underscore the light in lupus. So I'm trying to get that going now. I'll be more active on that within the next few months. Just still trying to get everything finalized with the state and everything like that, so that I can actually. I don't want to like promote for a name and logo and all this stuff, and then it's not available. I've been working on getting all that done, waiting for that to come back as my proof. But yeah, my Instagram is Louie Lou. I definitely ask questions. I'm here if you need advice. I'm always willing that, if anyone has any type of, if they're trying to start up something and they need people to come out to support, I'm always willing to travel. I love to meet new people because finding a lupus community has been very difficult for me in my area. Everyone that I meet are out of state or they aren't really like local near me. So having those little meetups are needed because again, lupus is something that's not talked about amongst a lot of people, and people are newly diagnosed and they feel like they don't have that direction there. I can't necessarily tell you what to do, but I can tell you what worked for me. And you can ask your questions or whatnot, or if you just need someone to vent to, like we need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we
It's
do.
been almost a 20-year journey for me to find the right fit of people. And I'm the type of person that I'm the poorer. So when
Yeah,
it's my turn,
I feel it.
I don't have that, and
Yeah,
it gets frustrating. I'm not
it
gonna
does.
lie, because it's like dang, I just want somebody to lift me up
I'm the
and
same
know me
way.
enough to know exactly what to say, like what's gonna work.
Right,
Because they get that, we can relate to things, but both of us don't need to be in the pity party. Like somebody
right, right.
poor.
Yeah, and
So
that's
yeah,
me.
it's hard.
Yeah. My struggle has been lately has been I've connected with a few people who do have a really good lupus following or advocacy that they're doing. And I'm just like, okay, well, what steps can I take? Like, what do I need to do? Like, I'm not asking you to give me the blueprint. Give me an outline or something. Like, show me what I can do to help get me to where I can go because I don't have anyone around me that's doing it. And then the people that I have met, they're like, well, I can bring on to my thing. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
my
I'm gonna talk to you about that off
yeah.
off
So
record.
yeah,
I'm
that's been the struggle. But other than that, I'm not the typical. I can come off. I don't like to use the word harsh, but I'm not going to coddle a person because it's like this is something that you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to take control of it. You can't expect for people to constantly just pat you on the back. It's like no. All right, so you're hurting this way. All right, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try that. I don't like when people come to me and say, "Well, if you drink this tea, you'll be fine." It's like, no, I won't.
girl.
I'll try it though.
What's your sign?
I was so yeah, it's like I just said, but
Yes.
yeah. But my advice for people who may watch this that don't have lupus, like I said, just listening to someone, listening to them vent about whatever it is. A lot of times we do not want to hear, oh, if you just walk and stretch, your body won't hurt, or if you eat the right way. It's like you have some people who have amazing diets, who have amazing workout plans, and their body still does not want to communicate. It's not something we chose to have, but it's just that unsolicited type of advice. It's like, or I hear a lot like, oh, you have lupus, my such and such passed away from it. It's like,
I think my biggest one is when they put it in the comment and it be like, take this remedy. Somebody gave me this herbal thing and I drink it and I'm like, bro, stay out my tongue this.
yes, 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 that one, that part. So
That's
yeah,
probably my number one. Like, ugh.
yeah,
Oh, thank you, girl, for tuning in and
yeah.
chatting with me. I appreciate your
I
time. I
appreciate
loved
it. I'm glad to
it.
be here. Yeah,
I think I got me a new friend.
yeah, you do.
So thank you
You do.
guys for turning into another episode of the Lupus Speaks podcast. I hope you found our conversation with Simi as inspiring and insightful as I did. For more information and resources about lupus, please visit www.lupusspeaks.org, and we got plenty of helpful content to support you on your journey. If you would like to find Simi, please reach out to Louie
Lulu Lewis, Lielu. Yeah.
over on Instagram. And until next time, you guys, peace and be intentional. Bye. As we wrap up another episode of Lupus Speaks, I hope you are leaving with renewed inspiration and a belief that dreams are attainable despite lupus or any chronic illness. Let's keep the conversation going by connecting with us at Lupus Speaks on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please remember you are not alone on this journey and that your dreams are not defined by lupus. They're powered by your strength and determination. So until next time, you guys, peace and be intentional.